Crazy fool, what? Straight crazy fool. Like my accent? You know, doesn't matter. What is going on, crypto fam? Happy Friday. Happy Crypto Stackers Day. Happy Forest Day. Happy we have a lot of good stuff to talk about day. And welcome to Sin City Crypto Live. I'm one of your co-hosts, David. And we're coming at you from our very expensive studio here in Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada, with our weekdaily live show. Before we get into the content, quick disclaimer. Nothing that anyone says on this channel should be taken as financial advice, so please always do your own research. With that out of the way, allow me to introduce you to the man. I got nothing else to say. Big Rob, what's up?
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we here are an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take the old, the boring, the stale information. We package it up in a fun and sexy way. Also, here at Sin City Crypto, we don't just do live streams. Every once in a while, we put out other videos. But how do you know we put out other videos?
Good question.
Notification bell.
That's right.
And about the notification bell, there's also other things you can do, like the video.
Yes.
Especially if you like this video. And then subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. That is all I have for my promoting ourselves.
Wow. Also, if you want to become a member and support this channel, feel free to click the join member channel subscribe button in the description of this video. Also, when we are done, please make sure you go follow our man Forrest on his crypto YouTube channel. We have the link in the bio. Also, follow him on Twitter, 0xstacker on Twitter. Man, we got a juicy show today. We're talking NFTs. We're talking another bid to buy BlockFi. We're talking the European Union. We're talking MakerDAO. We're talking breaking news from El Salvador. A lot. Plus, the best market analysis in the game brought to you by the man himself, Forrest from Crypto Stackers. We are excited. We hope you guys are as well. Robin, I kind of don't want to waste any time. Let's do roll call and let's get into it.
All right.
Let's get into
and roll call. So first in the chat, Brokey Yoshi. And then we got Destroyer, Marky Mark, HP, Chef Murder. We got Why You Loud Gang. And then we got Shizzy, R.A. Daniel, Tox. We got Blake up in here. Strictly Sports.
That's Steph Curry.
And then Stefan. We got Sage up in here. Good to see Sean C back up in here too. Bullish Kenny G, Redman, and that rounds it up right there. If you are new, say hello. So that way we can give you acknowledgement.
Yes.
And Olas.
Fino, also. Fino, welcome.
And Fino.
Fino just made the...
He just made a cut?
Just made the roll call. And Salvatore. Rocco, do you know Salvatore?
Oh, Salvatore. What's up, bro?
Salvatore Militello. You know, I feel like I've been knighted in Italian. Rocco, have I been accepted into the Italian community? Think.
Absolutely not.
We have many little what? Choose your next words carefully, my friend.
You literally look like you work at a gas company.
Calm down.
Like you...
It better be Exxon
Like,
Mobil.
I'm just saying, like, you look like a prototypical, like, pull this man's face up. You look like literally you work for a power company. Like,
What
if you
the
had,
hell
like,
does that even mean?
I'm just saying, you look like a standard ass
I look
white
like
collar
a guy
American. You look
working at a
nothing
power
like
company.
you look nothing like an Italian gentleman. That's all I'm saying.
And what do
Now,
you
hey,
look like, Robin?
Hey, you know
What do you look
Blue
like?
collar
The Wolf
American
of Wall
is a
Street?
good look.
You look like the Wolf of Wall Street?
Remember the Ronaldo.
Scamming our minds with his
the
BS
Ronaldo.
story.
Ronaldo. You know,
Ronaldo,
people
Ronaldo.
say I look like the guy from who's the Archer guy in the Marvel movies?
The really ugly one, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
Is Ronaldo the guy with the most
Jeremy Renner.
news?
Jeremy
Oh,
Renner.
no, that's
Do I look like
Geraldo.
him? What if I had one of those bow and arrows?
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as it's not.
That's the Ronaldo.
As long
That's
as
a
you don't
new
have
thumbnail.
a bow
I like
and
that.
3 arrows, you get what I'm saying.
Need to get
Man.
blonde though.
More fallout, by the way, from 3 Arrows Capital. But Robin, let's get into it, man. Let's look at
All
the markets.
right.
What are the markets doing?
So Bitcoin still sitting under 20K. Taking a look. Bitcoin at 19,000. Refresh. $19,397.60.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for 19,397, bro. That 60 cents messing up my trade.
Why don't you open up a long position on that?
I will.
Now, yesterday we did see some price movement, which is pretty indicative of people trying to short the market. So as you see here last night, so this is
Not Hawkeye. He's the worst Avenger. Man's got a point.
Hawkeye is not the worst of it.
Who's the worst Avenger then? Hawkeye.
Probably the Hulk, man.
Falcon's pretty whack. Falcon. Yeah.
Yeah, you got the Hulk, and the Hulk, all he does, he's
Hulk
a
has
normal ass
PTSD
dude, and
now.
he just gets pissed off, bro.
But he has PTSD now. He can't even get pissed
He
off
reminds me of
anymore.
my ex-wife. I'm just saying.
Damn.
I'm just saying, bro.
All right. Ex-wife, if you're watching, messed up. All right, let's move on.
Anyways, we also got Shuck Neve. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. So as we mentioned yesterday, we had a lot of price movement in midday yesterday. So at 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we had what you laughing at, bro?
Shuck and jive. Shuck Neve.
Whatever.
Like some French name. All right, anyways, sorry.
Yeah.
We're on fire today.
You know, what's that cream they have? Neve cream?
No idea.
Good stuff, man. Mommy's is that. All right. So, anyways, yesterday, 4 o'clock, we went from 18,000, bumped all the way up to 20K. Literally short squeeze right here. So you don't get these big ass candles like this naturally, especially when the volume for crypto is down at 70K right now. Taking a look, yeah, these literally just short liquidations. People are trying to time the market. They see a $18,000 Bitcoin. They watch too much YouTube. They're like, oh, this thing's going all the way down to 15. Short position, liquidated, and liquidated. Now, back to where we were. So, also taking a look at the rest of the market, Ethereum still holding that $1,000 mark. Curious to see how low this goes. This is what I am eyeballing here is the Ethereum, and I'm not trying to time the bottom, but I got a couple more buys, and I'm trying to find some great value. Not to say that it isn't great value already, because it is, but I think you're gonna find some really juicy price targets.
It's hard to not be greedy when you see prices falling.
It's hard not to unload all of your side capital because your boy he's running out of ammo. But I still got some on the side. And so I'm trying to pick up some more Ethereum. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm eyeballing like an 800.
What do you think about BNB,
I'm eyeballing
man?
800 something.
$215 for BNB.
I think everything's on discount right now, bro.
Would
Everything's good.
Would you pick up BNB at $200?
I just don't see the resurgence of Binance Smart Chain in the next run up. So Binance Smart Chain ran up this year simply because of the high gas fees with Ethereum. There was very little options when it came to smart contracts at the time when it first pumped. And you had Pancake Swap because people were using Uniswap. You had Pancake Swap. And so if you wanted to launch new projects, it was either Ethereum or Binance. And so because of that lack of competition, Binance did what it did. Now, I'm not throwing shade on Binance. I think they're an amazing token. I mean, most powerful exchange in crypto.
They're known as a scam chain, bro.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's I just don't see it having the same run up because the next bull run that comes around, you have so many options, bro.
Right?
And so I think you're gonna.
Plus, Cardano will be actually fully functional.
Yeah, I mean, you could say Solana might have ironed out their issues. You got Cardano. Not to
Don't
mention
get ahead of yourself.
Avalanche could enter the fray. Polkadot could evolve into what it's supposed to be.
Near protocol.
Don't discount Polygon as a means of easing the congestion on the Ethereum network. You also have maybe Chronos Chain.
You got Litecoin.
Stop it. All right. Taking a look at the biggest gainers and losers. So this is the crypto bubbles where we can see what the biggest price action is for the week. Atom up 12%. So Cosmos is seeing a nice little bump up. Same thing with Curve Finance, Basic Attention Token, and then Waves is also up. AMP has a pullback. They were significantly up yesterday. If you take a look at the week, Also, Luna Classic pumping for some weird reason, but this is just to zoom out on the weekly. You see that we're in the red. So even though we're starting to see a little bit of green today, let's keep
Go to the month, Robin.
Yeah, and then the month is just as bad, if not worse. And the year, you got the projects that pumped that are a little newer. So
Gala, huh?
Damn. Gala up 500.
You like Gala?
I do, man.
Me too.
I do. Got Tyrone in the house. What's up, bro? All right, and then crypto fear and greed index sitting at 11. So yesterday, today, falling flat. Surprised. I thought it would have pulled back, especially with us being under 20K. Thought there would be a little bit more shakiness in the market. Also, Stephen Ray, hola, welcome to Sin City Crypto.
UK.
Oh,
Okay, UK.
good day, mate. Is that Australia?
Australia.
Yeah, I'm not good with the accents.
Yeah.
Give me a scallops accent or something.
I'll take the Ponzi scallops, please. There you go.
That's right.
Anyways,
so taking a look at the markets in traditional finance, we have pretty flat across the board. So not much action. We do have the inflation numbers coming out in a couple weeks.
Mhm.
So I don't know if we're gonna have any giant price movements until you get this inflation report. But you never know. You might get some kind of black swan. A pipeline might blow up or something with oil, and who knows. Or maybe another boat will get stuck in the Suez Canal, you know?
hopefully not. That would not be fun.
Or another strain. I'm not even going to elaborate on that.
There you go.
So, as of right now, I think, we've had a big pullback.
By the way, hold on. Why
What's up?
does this guy look so happy?
Because he has good credit. Look at this. He's got good credit, man.
Rubbing it in
A man
our
with
face,
a man with a good credit score is a happy man until he looks at how much he's
Portfolio's down.
yeah. So, taking a look, here's the thing. Tech stocks. So right now, as I said, we're flat, but that doesn't represent how it really is. And so tech stocks is having the worst year ever. It's kind of crazy to even say worst year ever. And so the NASDAQ and the Russell 2000 are having the worst year ever. Compound on this, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is off to its worst start since 1962. And lastly, you have to go back to 1970 for a worst first and second quarter than the S&P 500 had.
And we know what happened in the 70s.
So everybody is in this, are we in a recession? If you stop asking if we're in a recession. Like, come on, man. It's here. It's here.
Don't wait for the government to tell you, okay? Just use common sense. Just watch the show. We'll tell
We
you.
got Zorhan. Hola! Welcome. City Crypto.
From Croatia.
From Croatia.
Awesome, man.
Croatia
Welcome.
in the house, man.
Welcome in.
Awesome. And then now we have, so if you look at tech stocks having the worst year ever, tech stocks, we say it all the time, right?
Right.
What do we say?
Correlated.
Correlated to Bitcoin,
Bitcoin.
cryptocurrency. And so we have the worst year in 11 years as Bitcoin's price and activity plunge. So it's not just crypto. So when people come up to you on the streets, David, and they say, oh, Bitcoin's down. Everything is down.
Yeah.
Everything. Gold is down. Stocks are down.
It's just
Oil is not down.
people just want to pick on crypto. Hey, oil is not down.
Outside of oil, everything is down, okay? But you know what's not down?
Sin City Crypto.
That's right.
We moving.
We're going to up and up. And then we also got Eric in here. Good to see you. So quarterly returns on Bitcoin haven't been this bad since it was trading under $20
Yeah.
in the early days of Mt. Gox. It's the steepest price fall since the third quarter of 2011 when BTC fell from $15 to $5, a loss of 67%, worse than the bear markets of 2014, 2018. Bitcoin's price slumped 39 and 49% respectively. Those times now down 67. The past quarter saw 8 weekly red candles in a row, which was also another record.
Right.
And there is a little note here that they put. So for this article, they say there are also signs that investors are keeping dry powder.
What do you mean?
And I was like, oh, is that so? They left no corresponding evidence. So your boy did some research. Where's this dry powder they speak of? Oh, I found this really convenient chart.
What's that?
All right. So I got a chart here. On the top, price of Bitcoin. On the bottom, total amount of stable coins and represented in USDT, USDC, and market cap. So that's how many stable coins are in the system. As you can see here, we have two channels, top and a bottom. Every time that the stable coin supply reaches the top of this channel here, the high for that time frame, we have a bottoming on the Bitcoin price.
What?
And that signals the reversal. And then conversely, you have the same thing. As you have a very low amount of stable coins as far as market cap, you see a reversal and you see the height on the Bitcoin price. And so time and time again, height, and these are literally corresponded one for one every time that the market cap has hit each end of this channel here. Even
Literally
here,
every single time.
So here you have the double top of Bitcoin that we just went through, and you had the lowest supply in this, or hit the
Double bottom,
the double bottom on this channel here. And lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for a little glimmer of hope, a little sign of prosperity to come, we have hit the top of this channel.
Damn.
And so, if you were to plot this here in the same way that we've plotted these other ones here, and each and every time, we have this green question mark here. And so there, you would expect corresponding move that would follow the other ones. So, just interesting. Now,
that is interesting.
So
this is essentially saying people are keeping stables on the side.
Yeah, and you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. But I'm just making a case. I do think that we started this little segment off with tech stocks having the worst year ever, correlated to Bitcoin. We're going into a recession. That's not in question. And so going into a recession, how much deeper can it go? Bitcoin has never been in a recession before.
Right.
So we're in what we call price discovery, kind of a sort, but on the downside. And so, are we going to break this trend as far as in the global macro side of economics, or are we going to pivot? I don't know. What do you think, David?
I don't know, but you know who might have some insight on that?
Who's that?
That man. Are we ready to bring him in?
Yeah, let's go.
Rocco, let's roll it.
Roll the intro.
Yo.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me on.
Hey, man, my pleasure. Thank you for coming. How you doing, brother? How you feeling?
I'm doing well. Just checking out these other bottom signals. I like that USDC, USDT chart. I've got a couple other bottom signals that are in for crypto. So yeah,
amazing.
Looking like we're close to the bottom here.
Do you? I mean, how much weight would you put on that chart that Robin showed with the stable coins?
I mean, on that individual chart or any individual chart, I wouldn't put a ton of weight and make an investment decision off of any single chart. But when you have like 9 different charts that are showing bottom signals, the combination of all of those charts, it makes a much stronger chance or a case for bottom being in or close to being in. Right? We're never going to time the bottom perfect, or at least, we probably won't time the bottom perfect. But that's why we throw on the DCA when stuff is this oversold and we feel like there's going to be a bottom soon.
Fair enough. All right, Forrest, before we jump into crypto, I want to share some with you, and I want your opinion. Will you pull up my laptop, Rocco? So, Sin City Crypto, we participated in creating a disco kitty. All right. And I made this in honor of Robin when I crush him during our debates. This is what he looks like. Blood flowing from his eyes. Tears of blood. What are your thoughts? You like this? Be honest.
Oh yeah, I love it. Love it.
By the way,
we're super excited about people being able to customize their own ones. It's so much more fun.
It really is, from personal experience. We had a great time. Now, are people still able to do this, or is that part of the of
It's
your
still
NFT
open.
over?
Yeah, we've had a ton designed. If we get more than 10,000 designed, obviously we'll cut some out. But right now we're still under that 10,000 threshold. So there's still room for more.
Love it. And we will drop a link if you guys are going to go make your own Disco Kitty. It was seriously a fun experiment. I had a good time. And I just was thinking about Robin the whole time. I was like, what does Robin look like when I beat him in a debate? You don't like
a
it?
cat. I'm a dog. Dog.
Well, there's no disco doggies yet. So when that comes out, we'll do one for you as well. What are your thoughts about BlockFi potentially being sold to FTX for $25 million?
29.
29. I thought it was 25,
Maybe
unless
it
they
is 25.
changed it.
I don't
Okay.
know.
Between 25 and 30 million. Just after the company was
Yeah,
worth close
so-
to $5 billion. Well, like, what are your thoughts? Is this crazy?
Yeah, so that's really, really interesting. So I actually saw the news get posted, and then I saw like the CEO of BlockFi post a tweet that said we are 100% not being bought for 25 million. So I don't know if it's confirmed yet, but regardless, there's talk of BlockFi potentially being purchased for a ridiculously cheap price. Yeah, I mean that to me is a bottom signal. Like the top for Bitcoin, or the first top out of our two tops, 64 and 69K. The first top was Coinbase IPO, right? Which you would think normally is really, really good news. Well, that was the top. In the same sense, I think we can have some stuff occurring down here at the bottom of max capitulation, where we're seeing FTX scoop up and deploy capital and reinvest at dirt cheap prices in the crypto ecosystem. It is interesting because FTX, I mean, they're building a monopoly in the crypto space. There's very few competitors that have a grasp on as many aspects of crypto as they do, which is simultaneously maybe a little bit concerning in some ways, but also just interesting to keep track of. I mean, you got Binance and FTX are the two big players right now, and FTX is just expanding their reach and foothold in the crypto space.
Do you think that's a negative thing?
Potentially. It could be in many ways, but in many ways, maybe not. Because as you scale, you get economies of scale. You can offer better services at cheaper prices. I mean, it doesn't seem to be too big of an issue in a lot of other industries until you get to a certain size, right? You start talking about like, the mobile phone industry or the smartphone industry, or even the service providers industry, or operating systems. Like you've got Apple versus Mac, Apple versus Microsoft. You usually get a situation where you've got 2 to 3 major players in the space. And as long as we have those other, 2 or 3 other major players in the space, I think the industry as a whole will be okay as far as, centralized crypto services go. But what we don't want to see is FTX just swallow everybody and have a complete monopoly.
FTX reminds me a lot of, so obviously we're pretty early as far as the adoption of cryptocurrency and just crypto in general. And so I do liken a lot of comparisons to where we are at now with the early days of the financial legacy system. So if you were to take like the Depression, for example, where it was our first major pullback in the economy here in the U.S., out of the recession came JP Morgan. And so they came up and bought up tons of these companies at a discount and grew into the behemoth, or cemented themselves as the powerhouse that they are out of the ashes of other companies. And there is a benefit to having these major players, because in uncertain times they're ones that are more likely to make it through the next recession. And we saw that again, JP Morgan flexing its muscle coming out of the 2008 recession, or drop down, or whatever it was, with the housing market crash. And so, we're starting to see what I think is a very similar situation with FTX.
You're saying FTX is the next JP Morgan Chase?
They could be. I mean, it kind of fits the mold of what JP Morgan was doing initially. And, when it comes to finance, there's so much money. It's not like JP Morgan owns all of finance. They are a major player. They hold a lot of weight. I'm sure they can manipulate the markets if they wanted to. However, they're not the sole entity that controls everything. So, I think
you don't have that much. I don't think you have that much depth in the crypto market. What do you think, Forrest?
No, but I think eventually it might play out to be, FTX is the big powerhouse. There'll be a couple other players, and then other smaller institutions as well.
Do you think there's enough depth for the market to handle essentially a monopoly?
Well, what I think if FTX created some sort of a monopoly or was a major player, which they already are a major player, but continued to grow, that would demonstrate to these other centralized financial institutions and banks that, hey, there's a lot of money to be made here. And we'd actually see pressure from like the legacy side of things moving into crypto as an opportunity to make money. The more money that drifts over into the crypto space, the more attractive it becomes for JP Morgan to come over and start crypto services. So I would say in the short term, I think the bigger FTX gets and the bigger Binance get, and the more money that they make, probably the better for the space, right? Obviously, we don't want them making too much money because the way they make their money is off of traders like us, investors like us. So yeah, I mean, I think in the long term, we'll start to see some pressure from these legacy financial institutions to enter the crypto space. They'll see it as an opportunity.
I agree. All right, I want to pivot to one last topic before we hop into the chart. So SEC had their date, July 6th. They were supposed to rule on the GBTC conversion to a spot ETF. They jumped the gun. And on this channel, we gave Gary the nickname Gary the Gun. So Gary jumped the gun.
He gave him the name.
I gave him the name. Yeah, that was on me.
He's so proud of that name.
Yeah, I'm very proud. One of my greatest accomplishments, like Robin being homecoming king. Anyways, are you surprised? Do you think we will ever see a spot ETF under a Gary Gensler run SEC?
So as far as financial laws go, I am not an expert, but I don't know if I was in his situation. I don't know how comfortable I would be approving that spot ETF, and that's because I'm in a very small minority of people who very long term are not very bullish on Bitcoin, despite being very bullish on cryptocurrency. Right? I have certain issues with Bitcoin that I understand are very unpopular. And I do respect the people that are, full on Bitcoin. I don't love when people are just complete Bitcoin maxis and they call everything else a scam and all the other innovation in the space a scam. I don't like that, but I do respect people's affinity towards Bitcoin. I understand Bitcoin, but I am not particularly bullish on its ability to innovate in the long term. Which may cause issues, may not cause issues. Maybe it can survive despite a lack of flexibility and innovation. Maybe that's exactly what makes it a good store of value. There's other issues I have with Bitcoin. However, if I was really going to be doing a deep dive on Bitcoin and trying to understand whether or not it's a smart decision to approve a spot ETF, I don't know. I don't know if I would. I especially. It's one of the toughest times to be doing that as well, right? So you don't want to be the guy who's approving a Bitcoin spot ETF, which crypto has this negative connotation of like gambling and like a lot of people are losing money in crypto. A lot of people have made a lot of money in crypto, but a lot of people have lost a lot of money in crypto. Meanwhile, the economy is tanking, right? We're moving into recession. Like we've got. I could just see from an optics standpoint where that would be seen by many people as, hey, that's really progressive. That's good for the future. But for a lot of people, that seems like, hey, what are you doing worrying about crypto right now? Don't you need to be worrying about the economy? Don't you need to be worried about the legacy financial system? Like, don't you need to be worrying about all of this other stuff and not Bitcoin and crypto? So I don't know. That's a long way of saying is I genuinely don't have a good answer for that question. I wish I did.
I do hold Bitcoin on a pedestal. However, I do think that the people that are super bullish on Bitcoin are delusional as far as its potential, where like they think it's.
Are you talking about the Bitcoin only people? The Bitcoin?
Yeah, I think that whole like. Trying to build smart contracts and be a payment infrastructure and all of this. And like, I think realistically, that's not what it's best suited for. I think it is a great store of value. I think it could be a competitor to gold. I could see why you have that. It is not at all efficient. And as it scales, it becomes more and more inefficient. And, it scares me, that if if Bitcoin does get massive adoption, say 1,000-fold from where it is now, as people predict, 10 to 20 years out in the future, what does that look like as far as power consumption, as far as efficiency, and and so for that reason, I do have my doubts as far as what it is capable of doing, and I definitely don't believe in its basically trying to run smart contracts and being the payment infrastructure of the future. The Lightning Network, yeah, it works now, but it's a centralized network that checks in with Bitcoin. So it's only as good as the ledger that is on on somebody else's corporate.
Have you been hanging around with Elizabeth Warren?
No, I'm saying I think Bitcoin is the go-to right now. It's the safest pick of the cryptos. But I think it's an amazing store of value. Is it scalable to a global stage as far as to give a competition to gold? That's debatable. But right now, I think it's the go-to asset in the crypto space as far as longevity. But yeah, I don't know. That's how I feel.
All right, Forrest.
Yeah,
we are going to hand this.
Bitcoin is it's got the I don't want to be the person that positions themselves against the strongest investing community and people will often like throw out the word cult there, but really the strongest community of believers in any asset period. Like if you look at GameStop, if you look at Tesla, Tesla's a great example of a stock that has almost just a strong believing in Elon Musk and a strong believing in the future that they're trying to build, to the point where they invest in it not necessarily based off of like cash flow or valuations, but just a strong belief in its ability to innovate and ability in the future to continue to grow and provide value to the space. So you have like this just ridiculously strong, I think it's the strongest following and investing community of any asset out there. I can't think of another one that has like, no one's really that passionate about gold. Yes, gold has a larger market cap, but there's not like gold conferences in Miami. There's not like these, there probably are gold conferences and whatnot, but they're not huge like the Bitcoin conference. And there's not like these huge communities for these other assets like there are for Bitcoin. And I think that is Bitcoin's biggest strength, and one of the reasons why I don't want to position myself against it. And even though from a technical side of things, like I'm not crazy about it, I think it's potential. It has the ability to overcome some of those things and pivot and be flexible if it has to be, and potentially get to a tipping point where it's just seen as this store of value because of that community that's behind it. And it's like any money, right? Dollars are basically have value. They're not backed by gold anymore. They have value because people believe they have value. Well, Bitcoin is the same way. Like Bitcoin can have value if enough people agree that Bitcoin has value.
Right.
And a lot of people believe that Bitcoin has a lot of value because we see it reflected in the community and in the price.
And we appreciate your opinion, and I'm on the same side of the fence with a lot of those ideas. And one thing I'll say, like with myself and with your channel as well, is that as content creators, I'm going to give you my opinion, and it might not be the popular one. I might alienate some of my viewers because of their strong beliefs, but
here's the thing though.
The best thing though is like for a content creator, somebody that, if you're over here trying to learn a little bit more about the space, last thing you want is an echo chamber where people are just repeating what other people say, and they're not really giving their
critical
own true
thinking.
Opinion. Yeah, exactly. So
here's the thing: for a space to grow, you can't have everyone saying the same thing and looking at. You need people like Forrest with that article you wrote, or I don't know if you can call it article, a blog post. But it was great, and I saw a lot of people hating on it, and which is fine. Who cares, right? And props to you for doing that. But if we don't have people like you who are like, hey, not everything's all dandy, not everything is 100%, the space is never going to grow. So we'll leave it at that. Forrest, we're going to hand it over to you, my friend. Please do your thing, and thank you so much again.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys can see my screen here, we are going to we're going to maintain the theme of bottom signals. So I think it's perfect that you guys showed that USDC, USDT chart for stable coins, kind of topping out, hitting that resistance at the top of the channel. There are just tons and tons of bottom signals presenting themselves. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we have reached the bottom and that we can't go lower, but it does mean that we're probably, in all likelihood, near some sort of bottom, whether it's a bear market bottom or just a local bottom where we start to get some sort of a relief rally. Remember, I'm going to cut over to Bitcoin here. Remember that even throughout this long bear market, last market cycle, we still had a mini bull market, right? Where we saw a 350+% move up out of Bitcoin. So we can still get those huge rallies in the middle of a bear market. I want to actually start out with altcoin market cap, and I've been diving into RSI a lot more. Let's see if I can actually bolden this up just a little bit for you guys so you guys can see this a little bit better. I probably could, but hopefully you guys can see that. Essentially, this is just RSI plotted against altcoin market cap. And the two tops for altcoin market cap were marked by bearish divergence. This one was obviously more bearish in terms of RSI divergence. This one was just kind of a double top in RSI, accompanied by a higher high and a top in altcoin dominant, not altcoin dominance, altcoin market cap, right? So all of the altcoins combined market cap. So everything crypto market cap, excluding Bitcoin. And now we're actually starting to see, right? If you had bought or sold the bearish divergence, you'd have sold two tops, right? Now we're seeing the bullish divergence, right? Which would indicate some sort of a bottom. Right now, the thing with RSI divergence is it's not an exact science. It doesn't guarantee, just because you get bullish or bearish divergence doesn't guarantee that you're at a bottom. We could go lower, right, still, and get another level of divergence before moving back up. But what it does tell us is that we are potentially nearing a bottom. And how, if you kind of read into and figure out, look at the math formulas for how RSI is calculated. Essentially, what this is telling us is that despite drops in valuation, drops in price, right, altcoins are actually, we're seeing more buying behavior. So despite price being lower now than it was back here, we're actually seeing more buyers come in, right? So it's just showing us that we have fewer sellers and more buyers, more buying pressure, despite lower price, right? And that's a recipe for a potential reversal. If we go over to Bitcoin, this is the pi cycle bottom. So you've probably heard of the pi cycle top indicator, which picked pretty much the top for this past market cycle. Everyone ignored it, myself included, and everyone ignored it, or it also picked the top for last market cycle, right? There's also a pi cycle bottom. And it's just a moving average that have the two moving averages that when you divide them, they have a ratio of like 3.1415, which is pi. But in reality, they're slightly arbitrary, right? Moving averages. But what they are is they are backfitted for the tolerance of the market to show us how tolerant the market is of Bitcoin becoming oversold. And basically, they're just the moving averages that reflect that. So historically, bring this down. Historically, the pi cycle bottom has picked the bottom in the 2015 bear market. It also accompanied the bottom, right, in last bear market. And what you're going to see is that we could have predicted ahead of time that this was going to cross. We could have seen very clearly, hey, this was going to cross. We could have known it was going to cross because we got compression between the two moving averages, right? And then we got this big drop in price. And what this big drop in price did, and was obvious what was going to happen, it was going to bring this red moving average down and pretty much guarantee that it was going to cross, right? Unless price just springboarded all the way up to new all-time highs, there is no way that this red line wasn't going to cross the green line. And we're seeing the exact same thing right now. We were very, very close to crossing. And because we've had this compression, right? We've had this compression between the two moving averages, and now we've had this huge drop. The red line's going to come down and cross. Like even we're far enough below. We've dropped far enough in price that even if Bitcoin mooned overnight to 100K, like the red line would still cross and then come up, right? There's no way it doesn't cross. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to be the bottom, right? These are just somewhat arbitrary moving averages, but they've been back tested to the tolerance, to fit the tolerance of how oversold historically the market lets Bitcoin get. So it would, be logical that, hey, this is a lot of, among all of the other bottom signals that we have, it's pretty logical that we could be putting in a bottom very, very soon, right? Now, is it going to be perfect the day that this crosses? This is going to be the bottom. Maybe it was the last 2 times or within a couple days. It was on the pi cycle top indicator, which is very interesting to me. So it may be that this is the bottom for the pi cycle bottom indicator. Then if we just kind of look at, let me remove some drawings here. If we just look at Bitcoin on the weekly and we throw on the 200-week simple moving average, this has historically been a really strong support point in terms of a moving average for Bitcoin that has indicated some sort of a bottom. Now we've actually broken through it. Does that mean like, oh, we violated the support, we're just going to continue crashing? I don't think so. I just think it shows that, hey, historically, Bitcoin doesn't really like dropping below the 200-week moving average. Currently, it's below the 200-week moving average. It's dropped below it before and then popped back up, and that was a great time to buy as well. But another level to keep in mind in terms of potential bottom signals is if we look at the weekly RSI down here, right? Anytime we've gotten this low, it's been a bottom, right? It's been, this RSI coincides with this bottom here. And again, it's not completely perfect. This time it was. This time we didn't quite hit 30 on the weekly RSI, but again, very, very much a bottom here, at least a local bottom, not necessarily the bull market or bear market bottom. And again, we're pretty much at an all-time low in terms of weekly RSI. So we're very, very oversold here. So I'm expecting a relief rally at minimum, some sort of a local bottom, maybe a retest of 30K, right? That would be a 50% pump out of Bitcoin in the short term. Maybe we go higher. Maybe it's a bear market bottom and we just get some sort of great news for Bitcoin that throws us back into a bull market. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's plausible if like the right people and right entities decided to enter Bitcoin or enter the crypto market. I think sentiment can shift very, very quickly, right? I'm not saying that this is a likely scenario, but if something crazy happened where like Apple added Bitcoin to their balance sheet in this dip, okay, all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, Bitcoin's the greatest thing ever. It's going back up and it's going up to high prices. Right. Now, that's probably not going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see just a mean reversion back up to like the 21-week simple moving average, which is currently probably around $30-something thousand. I haven't checked it recently. And then I also want to bring up this chart. So obviously this is Bitcoin, but it's just an inverted scale. But let's just pretend that we don't know what this is. And we're just looking at some random asset that has been decreasing in price for a very long period of time, right? Would you ever look at this chart and say, hey, I think it's a good idea to buy when it's on this green line? Would you ever buy here? No, you'd never buy, right? Because every time it's ever hit this logarithmic green regression band, it's been a top, right? And it's been going down over time. So you'd never say, hey, I'm going to buy this asset at the green logarithmic regression band. You just never do that. Well, this is actually Bitcoin and it's flipped upside down. So I'll flip it, I'll re-invert it back to right side up. You would never look at Bitcoin here and say, I'm going to sell the green band. Why would you ever sell the green band? Like, yeah, we have global macro that doesn't look great, but I believe that a lot of that's priced in terms of and reflected in Bitcoin's price being down 75%, right? So yes, it can go lower, but the sheer odds, the sheer chances, like all of the indicators showing us that we're potentially very close to a bottom, it just doesn't make sense to me to position against what all the technicals are saying just because global macro looks bad, just because we're potentially going into a recession, or we probably are going into a recession, already in a recession by some measures. But even despite that, just because of that, I don't want to position myself to sell Bitcoin here and go against all of the technical indicators just because of a recession, right? I believe that recession is largely, it might not be all the way, but largely priced in already. We're seeing a 75% drawdown in Bitcoin. Right now, if we were up here and we had global macro saying, hey, we're going into recession, yeah, we'd want to sell, right? We'd want to sell because that recession is probably not priced into Bitcoin if Bitcoin was at 60K right now. But Bitcoin at 20K, it's for the most part, in my belief, priced in. Go ahead.
Can I ask your opinion? So you're one of the people like you just stated that you believe macro sentiment is already priced in, right? Let's say it is priced in, and we do find a bottom, and the government comes on and says we're officially in a recession. The global economies are tanking. Stock market continues to tank. Do you see Bitcoin reversing trend and starting a bull run leading up to the halving, or do you see it channeling for maybe a year and a half?
Probably channeling in some sort of accumulation period, something like this. This is total crypto market cap, but that was predominantly dominated by Bitcoin, right? Maybe we find a bottom, maybe we get some sort of short-term mean reversion or bull run, right? But probably sideways channeling until the next halving. I do think that sentiment can shift. I do think it's possible that we get some sort of a bull run, maybe not in Bitcoin, maybe it's in like layer one smart contract networks. Maybe it's in NFTs. Maybe it's in some innovative use case or infrastructure play. I think Helium Network is really interesting. And I also think Chainlink is a potential good bear market performer. I think that there's going to be, despite any type of recession or bear market, there's going to be individual high performers. Last week, I pulled up the Netflix chart where Netflix performed phenomenally well in the last recession. Right? It did have some bumps along the road, but it innovated. It was, doing extremely well during the recession. And I think we're going to see some sort of, cryptocurrencies or NFT plays that do perform well in a recession. So it may not be Bitcoin. It may be Bitcoin, but I do think that there is potential for some sort of, maybe not a full-on bull mode, right? But some sort of a mid, bear cycle market rally where, hey, maybe we move up 100 to 200%, right? A 100% move out of Bitcoin right now would take us from 20 to 40K. I don't think 40K Bitcoin is that absurd, right? After finding a bottom, right? Every time we've kind of bottomed out along this green level, we constantly test the orange mid regression band, constantly test this. Sometimes we go up to the red one. Sometimes we do a kind of a mean reversion, even though it's not a mean, it's a logarithmic regression band. But even just moving up to this orange band after finding a bottom, right, puts us back at 30K, which is a 50% increase. So I don't think that, regardless of recession, I just think just in terms of price action and the amount of people that believe in Bitcoin and the growth that we've seen over time, like I think some sort of relief rally or mini period of bullishness or mean reversion is in store here. At least to 30K, potentially higher. I don't think 40K is out of the question if the sentiment changes and people get really, really bullish for one reason or another. I think we need some sort of catalyst for that to happen, like some big person, some large entity or institution that may be buying Bitcoin right here in this dip that isn't going to reveal it until the next quarter's earnings reports or something like that. If that happens, then maybe we do see 40K or maybe 48K at the highest, something like that. But I do think that Bitcoin has the propensity, even in a bear market, even in a recession, to see some of these these bullish moves. Now, are they going to be full on parabolic rallies coupled by huge alt cycles? And probably not until next halving. But we do have the Ethereum merge coming up. We do have some fundamental catalysts coming up that could throw a little spark in the market here to the bullish side, especially after being oversold. Stuff likes to go from being oversold to bouncing back and overcorrecting, and then finding a reversion back to its mean after overcorrecting to the top side as well. Yeah. So the last thing I'll say, I guess, or one of the last things I'll say is we've seen this bearish divergence towards the top of the total crypto market cap. And this bearish divergence, right, if we were to look at it in terms of Bitcoin, if you sold, and I think I need to go to the daily, right, if you sold that bearish divergence, the first level of bearish divergence for Bitcoin would have put you getting out of the market here at $58,000 Bitcoin. Was it perfect? No, we went from 58K, we tested 64K, we had a huge correction, and then we went up and tested $69,000. But you can't tell me knowing what you know now, that you wouldn't be happy selling at $58,000, right? That's pretty darn close to the top, right? So we're seeing that, or we saw that with total cryptocurrency market cap. We saw that same bearish divergence, very, very close and in line with our top there, right? And we're starting to see, right? It's not quite divergence yet because it's more so just flat, right? But we're starting to see this bottom here and this bottom here creating, you know, our bearish trend. But our RSI, while it's not, you know, bullish divergence yet, it is flat, right? And that's close enough to bullish divergence for me to indicate, hey, we could be in some sort of a longer term, or, you know, coming up on a potential bottom. And then we've also, I mean, if you just look at total cryptocurrency market cap here, and I'll remove all drawing tools, I'll move to the weekly, right? And I'll just like say, look, I mean, we're darn close to, we're pretty much perfectly on our trend line of historically when it's been the best time to buy and accumulate. Does that mean we can't go lower? Of course not. We can go lower, but there's just so many signals here that are showing us like, hey, this thing's probably putting in a bottom soon. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not going to ignore all the signals. Fear and greed index, yet another signal. Hey, usually when fear gets this high, it's very close to a bottom. And then as far as like fundamental signals, I just wanted to flash this up there. This was a tweet from somebody, I'm not 100% sure who they are, but they basically just logged all of the big events in June, right? And I think it's really important to kind of be mindful of the stuff that's happening from a fundamental perspective. When you're near tops and near bottoms, maybe even log it in a journal, right? Coinbase IPO, that marked the top, right? Now, if we do bottom and we do put in a bottom, pay attention to all the kind of stuff that's happening right now, right? Celsius halts withdrawals, right? BlockFi loses hundreds of millions on bad loans. Voyager Digital nearly implodes on 3AC contagion, right? But meanwhile, while all this is happening, you've also got Falcon X raising $150 million at an $8 billion valuation. That's insane. Right? That is a very, very high valuation. So we're seeing that these large companies are still investing heavily in this market while it's low. NFT marketplace Magic Eden, that's the Solana, the Solana version of OpenSea, raising $130 million at a $1.6 billion valuation, right? Coinbase cuts 18%. So we've got all of these kind of events happening in this space right now. And I think it's really, really important to pay attention to this so that we kind of learn over time, but also just, you know, in the future when stuff like this happens, we'll be better at synthesizing the headlines, synthesizing the data to tell, hey, is this a bottom signal or is this a top signal or are we somewhere in between? But this has been a crazy month in terms of headlines and stuff happening. So I just wanted to throw that up there as well. But I do think that some of these are potential bottom signals as well. And I'll leave it at that.
Awesome, man. There's like that tweet right there. Just because when you look at, you know, because I used to trade stock options all the time and, you know, traditional market, whatever, before I got into crypto. And when you see a big dip in a company, and in this case, it would be Bitcoin, you want to be like, okay, well, why? Is there a reason why? And if you can pinpoint to, okay, this happened, it gives you a little sense of relief. It's not just going to fall off the face of the earth. And I think showing that is very important because in any given market, one of those things would be considered a black swan event. And we've had multiple of them. And I don't think it's over. I mean, I'm sure Robin agrees. I don't know if you agree that we haven't seen the end of the Celsius and Three Arrows Capital saga and how many other companies and projects it's going to affect, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think there's a strong chance that this contagion kind of continues, and it's not over until everybody who's, you know, at risk of being liquidated has been liquidated or has made arrangements to sell or otherwise recover. So yeah, I think we're close. I think we're getting there. I think maybe it's another week or two. But the one thing to keep in mind is once price action does start to rally, once we do put in a bottom and we see Bitcoin go up 25, 30, 40, 50%, that gives an opportunity for a lot of these companies who were in danger to recover a lot of their debts. Now, are they gonna? Is it potentially going lower? Because every time Bitcoin does rally a little bit, every time the market does rally a little bit, these people that are in trouble are getting squeezed, and they're having to cover their long positions, cover their leverage. Sure, but once we start to see that relief rally, I think that is the signal that, hey, everybody who has been shaken out, everybody who was going to go insolvent probably has gone insolvent, right? And now that we're 50% higher, they've had a chance to cover if they're going to cover and put themselves in a better position. At least that's my belief.
Hey, I tend to agree. Rob, you got anything else for our man Forrest before we let him go?
No, man. Great insight. I think everybody in this space is talking about recession and how low we can go, and talking about very low price targets for Bitcoin. I hear 12,000 floated around. Now the buzz is 9,000 and 7,000, and so it's good to take a look at the other side of the fence. Could it go as low as those numbers? Perhaps. And nobody knows. But I feel like there's not enough people talking about the potential rally or potential bottom in, if you want to call it that as well. So appreciate the perspective.
Yeah, Forrest, as always, I know our community loves you. We love you too here, my man. Thank you so much again, Forrest. Guys, make sure you go. We dropped the link. If you want to create your own CryptoKitty, trust me when I say this, it was very fun. Just think about maybe that ex-girlfriend you didn't like, or maybe your girlfriend that you do like. And think about them. It's fun. Or me, in this case, Robin, Anyways, that link's in the bio. Also, go make sure you subscribe to Crypto Stackers Pro if you want to use their software. That link is in there as well. So, Forrest, on behalf of all of us here at Sin City Crypto, we thank you, my friend. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you next Friday.
Thanks, you too.
Have a good 4th of July, too, man.
Yeah, 4th of July.
Yeah, you guys too.
Yeah, take care, Forrest. Thanks again.
All right, brother. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye.
Man, see, we need perspective like that, man.
Man,
It's juicy.
if y'all ain't, man, this man Forrest, he's the real deal. So, thanks again, Forrest. All right. We have some breaking news.
Oh.
Someone said FTX bought BlockFi. They did not buy BlockFi. BlockFi is still BlockFi. And we're going to talk about that in our...
There is articles that they bought BlockFi. but it's speculative. It's off of the
we have
the wording
official
from the tweet. So, yeah.
word from BlockFi, official. And we're going to talk about that in our hot take.
That's hot.
All right. Pull up my laptop. So this was tweeted 10 minutes ago by Zach Prince, who is the CEO of BlockFi. Excited to share an update on our previously announced term sheet with FTX and how we broadened the scope of the initial deal for the benefit of all BlockFi shareholders. Yesterday, we signed definitive agreements subject to shareholder approval with FTX for one, a $400 million revolving credit facility, which is subordinate to all client funds, and two, an option to acquire BlockFi at a variable price of up to $240 million based on performance triggers.
So that's where the assumption is, where you're hearing headlines. They bought BlockFi. Now, in their terms here, it is the option of buying, but
And it looks like the cap is a $250 million.
Yeah, so this looks like my estimate, obviously there's no details here, but I would assume that if BlockFi gets to a certain insolvency area, or where they're, getting into issues as far as cash on hand for exit liquidity, maybe it triggers then. That's what I'm guessing at. It's basically like, hey, we're gonna borrow money from you, but in the event that Bitcoin just straight tanks and people will just start taking a run on the bank, we'll just automatically sell. So that way we don't hurt our customer base. So
and it looks like there's a cap on the number too.
Yeah.
So this is good news if you're a BlockFi investor. If you like,
basically insurance. It's somebody taking out a loan with the insurance that the project won't go down, and if it does go in that direction, basically FTX will pull them out of the water.
That's right. Moving on, it says this, together with other potential consideration, represents a total value of up to $680 million. And Mr. Prince also said, we have not drawn on this credit facility to date and continue to operate as per usual. Then he talks about what got them to where they are. the Celsius news, which they said they had no exposure to, but people freaking out about DeFi, the contagion. They started pulling their money out of BlockFi. Also, their 3AC, which was liquidated. They still experienced an $80 million loss, even though they liquidated and took that collateral that 3 Hours Capital pulled up. And then there was one more thing on the bottom. It says, we fundamentally believe in protecting client funds, not only because it's absolutely the right thing to do, but this also benefits the ongoing health and adoption of crypto financial services. Therefore, it was important for us to add capital to our balance sheet. We were presented with various unattractive options where client funds would take a haircut or be behind a lender in the capital stack. Ultimately, a great partner in FTX who shares our commitment, blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 talks about they're going to, FTX and BlockFi are going to collab in the future. All right. So that's it for the tweet. Now, Robin.
I do want to say,
Go ahead.
before we're going to jump into this, is that we ain't opened up a club with 60 people all week. So it's today the day. We're going to have this breaking news FOMO of people in the chat. Hopefully.
I changed the title of the video.
And
the description and the tags.
If you are new here, we get to 60 people. We open up the club. We have a Vegas party.
That's right.
And we see David's dad's dance moves.
Dad moves.
Dad moves. Yeah.
You leave my dad moves out of this. So, Robin.
What's up?
Bullish, bearish? Would you have liked to see them just be acquired? I mean, what's kind of like, and I know we haven't had time to do actual research into the deal, what it looks like, withdrawal limits, blah, blah, blah. But at face value from everything we've read in this tweet.
You know, if it would have been any other time in crypto's kind of existence, I think it would have been a bearish news. You know, I think like if we were in a bull run, we're like, hey, somebody's mismanaging funds, you know, this isn't good. But I think everybody's under the assumption that there's a lot of leverage issues, exposure to debt that they might not regain from. So basically, you took an $80 million loss. And if you're working, if your company model is on thin ice as far as profit and loss, you know, can you absorb $80 million? Or do you have that assets on hand? And are you prepared for a bunch of exit liquidity? So with my opinion is that being in a bear market, being in these uncertain times, and being as low as we are in Bitcoin and the contagion fear of different companies going under and insolvent, it is kind of refreshing to hear that, you know, you have a company as big as BlockFi basically giving assurance to their customers that if something were to go awry or Bitcoin were to keep dumping, that they're going to be safe because of the partnership they made with FTX. So I think just right now with the situation of the global markets as far as in crypto, good news. It basically prevents BlockFi from going insolvent, because if they did go insolvent, as an example, we know Bitcoin would pull down massively because BlockFi is so much larger than Celsius was. And so we saw what Celsius did to the market. So, you know, if that were to happen to BlockFi, I don't even know where Bitcoin would end up, but definitely probably in at least the low 10,000s. So
I think
it's good. I guess
think this is
at least for the time being.
I think this is the best for the consumer. If you have a BlockFi account, I mean, if like I said, I only had a BlockFi account because I have the credit card, but I took my interest payments out of there. If I had money in BlockFi, I would be extremely happy that they didn't sell the company to, let's say, FTX for pennies on the dollar. Because what that means is your money probably wouldn't have been your money anymore. Well, it never was your money. But the amount of money you had in there, the amount of money you had access to would change drastically. No one's going to buy a company that, let's say, has $2 billion in assets under management, supposedly, pay $25 million for it, and then be on the hook for that amount of money, right? Because if that deal went through and they got sold for $25 million, what do you think people would have done? It would have been a bank run on BlockFi. Not been good. So if you are a BlockFi customer, I would be extremely happy. Essentially, you got infused with what's $500 million. Now, remains to be seen If Bitcoin drops again, if it drops to sub 15,000, we'll see what happens. Will more panic come? Will people come back in? Will I mean, who knows? But at least we know, because FTX passed on the Celsius deal because they were so underwater. But on the flip side, they come to BlockFi's rescue, lend them $500 million. I mean, we can read into it a little bit, say, okay, maybe BlockFi wasn't as big of a degen as Mashinsky and Celsius was. So I think this is positive. Now, personally, I still wouldn't have any money on any DeFi protocol. That's just me personally, because it's still too early with 3 arrows, still too early with Celsius. You never know. Things can change in a heartbeat. So I don't know. Rob, I think we're both kind of in agreement here, yeah?
Yeah, I think it's for the time that we're in, you know, as far as the bear market, I think it stops the bleeding. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to our second to last segment of our show, our talking points. Now, I had this article lined up prior to this tweet, so this morning. We're going to go over it, but we're not going to spend as much time on it because of the deal that just happened. So go ahead and pull out my laptop, Rocco. Ledin, or Leadin, or however you say it, is a Canada-based BlockFi type company, puts in a rival bid to acquire ailing lender BlockFi. This is per Bloomberg. Crypto startup Leadin, they've been in the space since 2018, so very new. Has reportedly approached rival lender BlockFi about a potential acquisition. They propose to lead a funding injection of up to $400 million with a $50 million equity contribution. So there was that number, $400 million. So Rob, you saw FTX loaned them $400 million. They were, so Leadin over here, Ledin, we're going to call it Ledin. They were looking to raise $400 million. Do you think that's like, does that tell you that was a magic number for BlockFi to stay solvent?
What's the number? 400 million?
400 million. FTX's loan was 400 million, and this proposal was to raise $400 million. 2 separate companies.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like, if you have different companies that are offering to buy, you know, what you get on from one, it's just basic free market here. And so if one company tells you 400 million, another company tells you 400 million, another one tells you 275 million, another one tells you $500 million, you're looking at the offers on the table, and you're like, well, this is essentially what I'm worth. This is what people are willing to pay me. And so obviously anything short of that target range would not be something you would entertain, right? And so in the same way that like Bitcoin has its value from what people are willing to pay, and the same can be said for a company's valuation. Your valuation is only as good as what people are willing to pay for it.
So you think it was a valuation, and it wasn't a number?
It was a valuation from an outside party looking at what they have on hand. They probably looked at assets on hand. They probably looked at their
consumer base.
Yeah, their consumer base. They you take all of it into account. And you can look at any business, and just the consumer base itself is worth something. It might not have a monetary dollar value tied to it, but at the end of the day, just off of marketing, I mean, that's worth something. You know what I mean? And so, that's just what the market was willing to pay for it, and so that's what they're worth at the moment. Would that valuation be different during the rise of a bull market? Probably, and probably could have got a lot more as far as a company acquisition. As far as how much money they could have received in a bull run. But obviously the assets that you have on hand and the uncertain times, you're only going to get that amount of money compared to where their evaluation would have been, before 2022.
Right. Shout out to Broke Yoshi for the super chat.
Which is
Sin City Crypto going to lead the next bull run. You take that to the bank twice, 3 times, because Robin's going to sign off on it too. Mm-hmm. All right. So I looked at Leadin, and again, this is prior to knowing the deal that just was closed that was announced by BlockFi. And I decided to do some research into them, and I found some stuff that's a little concerning. Leadin is a Canada-based BlockFi-style company. So if you're in Canada, I know HP's in Canada. I'm not sure if anyone else is. And I'm not 100% sure if you're able to use them in the US. I'm not sure if all their products and services are available, but I decided to do some research. And although it might not be as relevant as if this deal was still on the table, and it might be, who knows, right? But I still want to share it with you guys because I think it's important. Because if you have any money in lead-in, or just so you understand what's going on in DeFi space in general. So I decided to pull up their, go ahead and pull up my laptop, Rocco. So this is their website, okay? Earn up to 7.5% APY on Bitcoin and USDC savings accounts. And what I want to focus on is right here. Leadin has teamed up with Genesis Capital, and they are the primary borrower for its Bitcoin and USDC savings accounts. Who's Genesis? Well, there's some news on Genesis. They're currently facing hundreds of millions in potential losses from exposure to Three Arrows Capital and others. And others is a big one. Facing potential losses into the hundreds of millions. Now, this is a large company. This is the parent company is the digital currency group DCB, which also owns CoinDesk. And their exposure to over-leveraged hedge fund Three Arrows Capital and Babel Finance, which, by the way, they just hired restructuring lawyers. So they're probably going bankrupt as well. The precise tally of Genesis losses may not be known for some time because the company is seeking at least partial repayment from its counterparties. Amidst uncertainty, Genesis has been pulling credit lines from counterparties. So I went on, going back to this year, I went on, this is their Q1 report of 2022, okay?
This is for Genesis?
This is from Genesis. This is in their company report. During the rally in Luna, UST deposits swelled geometrically by billions of dollars as UST yield seekers could not pass up the juicy 19.5% interest offered through Anchor. This tremendous growth in UST market cap demanded a commensurate burn of Luna tokens, blah, 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 blah. Genesis capacity, oh no, here we go. Throughout March, hedging interest emerged at those levels to lock in outsized gain, and as such, Luna forwards and options became Genesis' top traded altcoin derivative over the quarter. You have a $8 to $10 billion managing company, investment company. Their Luna and UST was their top traded altcoin derivative for 3 months. Is that worrisome, Robin? They say hundreds of millions.
Everything you said here is worrisome.
And what worries me...
So how big is Genesis?
$8 to $10 billion.
So
right on par with a little smaller than three.
So Three Arrows Capital was, I thought they were 40. No.
40
so Three
billion?
Arrows.
Hell
so
no.
Three Arrows Capital was a $12 billion, somewhere in there.
Rocco, will you try to find that out?
Okay. Anyways.
Yes.
So here's the thing. They are a venture capital group. Sorry, I saw the article. I kind of grazed over it. I didn't have time to go into researching what Genesis is, but just to catch myself up to speed and our viewers as well. So Genesis is a venture capital fund that invests in projects that also do lending. Is that what I understand?
So going back to here, so this lead-in, the platform, offers borrowing, staking, saving,
and then they leverage money
Genesis.
From Genesis. Yeah.
Genesis is their largest institutional.
So they're their lender, right?
Correct.
So comparatively speaking, it's an institutional based Celsius, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. And so it sounds like they have some insolvency concerns.
I don't,
or at least the evidence points that way.
Yes.
Right?
And this is, I'm not saying they're going under. I'm not saying they're going bankrupt. I'm just saying I would be worried because the primary borrower for their Bitcoin and USDC savings account on lead-in is Genesis. And you just saw in their quarterly financial reports that a majority of their money, their altcoin derivatives, went into Anchor Protocol and Luna. And on top of that, 3AC. On top of that, Celsius. So if you got money on lead-in, I would proceed with caution. And like I said, just blanket DeFi overall. Be careful. All right. So I thought that was pretty interesting. We'll see how this plays out now. Their parent company, DCB or DCG, they're a pretty big company. So chances of them going insolvent are not likely, but you might see some changes in interest rates. You might see some changes in withdrawals. Just want to give you the information. Be aware, not trying to spread FUD, just saying this is what's going on.
And then also we got Faye Wright. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
Cambridge, another UK.
Yeah.
Welcome.
What do UK love lately?
That Crypto Stackers brought us here. Well, we are happy to have Crypto Stackers and all the people that join us from his community here as well. So yeah, proceed with caution. Robin, you want to add anything else to this?
No, I'm good.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Van Eck has launched the market's third Bitcoin strategy. They just ain't giving up. Asset management firm Van Eck has filed with the U.S. SEC for a new spot Bitcoin ETF. Not much else to highlight or talk about here as far as in the article itself. Robin, are these other companies looking at, like, do you think they're doing this too soon? Should they let this lawsuit play out with GBTC? Like, what are your thoughts? Like, would you do this if you were Van Eck?
Okay, here's the thing. At some point, you agree, at some point in the future, whether it's 2 months, 2 years, 20 years, at some point, they're going to pass a spot Bitcoin ETF, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So why not always have an application pending review for when that day comes, you can potentially get passed?
That's a good point.
I'm sure compared to the amount of capital that Van Eck has on hand, the application process probably isn't breaking the bank, put it that way. And so why not? You get denied, change some words, put it in again. Maybe take what the SEC says and maybe try to appease them from what their ruling was. So when they deny your previous applications, they're like, oh, hey, the market is this, the market is that. Then when you reformulate your next application, you can put safety features or maybe address concerns that the SEC brought up in the previous application and amend that into the newest one. And then at some point, you can be like, yo, you said this was a problem. We fixed it. Here it is. Come on, man. Now, opinion, will it get passed? Hell no. At least not right now.
You know, this GBTC lawsuit has some legs to it, and the SEC.
I haven't looked at. The
SEC might have shot themselves in the foot by approving. Forget the name of the ETF, the futures one. I believe it was the very last one.
They had been on record saying multiple occasions that if Grayscale got denied, they were going to sue. So it was front and center. Yeah, like everybody knew it was coming.
I'm just saying. Here's the reason why. The first spot, the first ETF that was passed was under the 1940 Securities Act. The last one that got passed, or the second and last one, was under the 1933 Securities Act. And so what Grayscale's argument is going to be is 1933's Act, you've had multiple other spot ETFs pass commodities under this one. The issues that you state in denying the spot application are not part of the 1933 Act. Now, the 1940 Act had more consumer protection. So if you deny it under that one, sure. But the 1933 Act doesn't have any of that in there. So they're saying, you telling us we're not protecting investors because of this, this, and this. Well, that's not in the 1933 Act, and you use that to pass futures ETF. It's the same thing. Why can't you pass a spot ETF? So there's legs to stand on. You know, Robin brought up an interesting angle. If you believe it's going to get passed at some point, might as well just have an application in, right? Might as well. I think, I don't know. I guess you don't have anything to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless, paying lawyers, filing paperwork, I don't know, whatever.
But I mean, if they have a ton of capital on hand, treasury, whatever, and it doesn't affect your bottom line to apply, then why not?
I'd be a little more inclined to see how the SEC responds to this lawsuit initially.
So you know what? Keep it out there, and then see what happens. I mean, if it doesn't affect you negatively, putting it in, then so be it.
Has Glenn been here before?
Glenn, hola, welcome, Sin City Crypto.
More UK's up here representing.
More UK up in the house. Yeah, what else you got?
We're moving on.
Okay, cool.
All right, EU. Okay, so there's a lot to go over here. So I'm going to break it up into segments, and we're going to talk about it. All right, EU agrees on MiCA regulation to crack down on crypto and stablecoins. Officials from the European Union have agreed on a landmark law that will make life tougher for crypto issuers and service providers under a new single regulatory framework, and has made the EU the first continent with crypto asset regulation. The provisional agreement includes rules that will cover issuers of unbacked crypto assets, stablecoins, trading platforms, and wallets in which crypto assets are held. MiCA regulation aims to protect consumers by requesting stablecoin issuers to build up sufficiently liquid reserves. Reserves will have to be, quote, legally and operationally segregated and insulated, and must also be fully protected in case of insolvency. Let's start there. I mean, this is pretty common sense, right? Be liquid, be backed, fully protected in case of insolvency. Do you have any issue there, Robin?
About say it again. Sorry.
You have any issue there?
On which one? Sorry,
On stable coins. So they're saying, this rule is saying they have to build up sufficient liquid reserves, and they have to be
just the guideline for stablecoins.
fully protected in case of insolvency. Do we see any issues there?
No. I think here's the thing. If you're going to have a stable coin, it's going to be tied to your currency. The nation that has that stable coin, so if you're going to have a dollar pegged stable coin and you're going to be operating in the United States, I understand that you're probably going to have more regulation in the country that has said currency. And so I think that's expected because if you want to represent the dollar, you need to represent what, all of the regulations that the normal dollar has, right?
Right.
So if a paper dollar has these limitations as far as, or you need this information to transact, if I'm going to give you $10,000, David, in just straight cash, say I send a bank, say I give you a bank transfer of $20,000. There's certain KYC requirements that the bank needs to do and document that transaction.
Right.
Now, I think it's only fair that if I transact that through my regular banking system with fiat, I think it would be normal. You wouldn't be offended if I sent you $20,000 in a USDT stable coin. You would expect to have the same.
Well, here's the thing.
The same implications, right?
Here's the thing. The reason one of the reasons people are going to crypto is that fact that
I'm talking about in strict stable coins. And now if Bitcoin, Ethereum, other things, if I'm buying your NFT for $20,000, that shouldn't be treated in the same way as I'm just saying that, stablecoin regulation, I think it makes sense because if you're going to be a one-for-one replacement, why not have similar, similar jurisdictional things that you would have on the other one, right? Okay, but here's the thing, because if I send you $20,000 in USDT and I circumvent the government policy, they're going to have an issue with that. I mean, right? You're basically creating fraud. You're defrauding. It might not be fraud in the eyes of court, but definition is fraud is you're circumventing the rules. And so if the rules say I send you 20 grand, IRS needs to know about it. If I send you 20 grand in fiat or I send you 20 grand in stablecoin, it should be regulated the same way.
That's up for debate. Here's the
that's my opinion. Now, if you don't agree, if you think that all rules should be broken because I'm using a cryptocurrency versus fiat, then that's your own opinion.
I don't know if I land there either.
But what do you want? You gotta set a line. You can't be like, well, I don't want to do the IRS thing. I'm not a fan of that, but I'm cool with I'm cool with the government backing the dollar and saying that it needs to be one for one back, but they need to insure my money from fraud, but I don't want the IRS to know. You can't just pick and choose.
Right.
So it's either you play ball with the Fed and the government, or you don't play ball. You can't have it both ways. You can't pick and choose what characteristics of the monetary system you want to use. You either play ball with their rules or you don't. And you see DeFi doesn't, but DeFi got no protections.
And now we're seeing.
And you want to play. You want to have your money on a crypto exchange in the form of a dollar stable coin. and you want it to be insured by the FDIC, you're gonna have to play by their rules, bro.
That's the conundrum people are in. You want complete decentralization. Well, guess what? The company goes under, they don't do the right thing, you're not protected. And people will call them for protection of my money, this and this. But here's the interesting part. Keeping on the stablecoin side of it, pull up my laptop, Rocco. It will see a cap on stablecoins of 200 million euros in transactions per day. And just to put it in perspective, 24-hour daily volumes of Tether are 48 billion a day. 48 billion euros a day, and they want to put a cap of 200 million euros in a day. And
per wallet, or is it
per day?
Cap on, but you know what I'm saying? Is that per day for the entire ecosystem in Europe? I would assume that that's for a particular address or wallet. You can't really cap a trading.
Large stablecoins will be subject to strict operational and prudential rules with restrictions if they are used widely as a means of payment, and a cap of 200 million euros in transactions per day.
I would say let's look into that because it's kind of vague. And I'm curious to see, is that for individual transactions? As a whale, if I'm a multi-billionaire, am I limited to 200 million? Or is it the entire ecosystem across all of the world? Well, you're only allowed to, I feel like the latter, the second one would be damn near impossible. Yeah,
but
basically what they're saying is
your
that
crypto at the top of the pecking order.
If they were, okay, here's an example where this would, if there was a hack, for example, and your crypto tokens were stolen in the hack, then the exchange would be liable to pay you back like 100%, like in this rule. Like, hey, you're responsible, you lost their tokens. Now, in the context of going default, that just falls in the same debt category as anything else. And, as an organization, not most countries around the world, if you go to default, you don't go to prison. If you get lawyers and you try to settle up, you liquidate what you have.
Shady like Mashinsky.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you're involved with fraud and embezzlement and all those other things, then that's a different story. But I'm just saying, like, if you just happen to be in a business that wasn't successful and you accrued debt and you go out of business and you do things the way you're supposed to, and it happens to be in the industry of cryptocurrency, then the debt that you have, you can just default on it. And from the context that you have in this article, it wouldn't change anything.
You know what I would like to see? I would like to see a couple things. I would like to see exchanges and DeFi protocols like BlockFi, like Celsius, offer clients insurance on their funds. Whether it gets hacked, whether they go insolvent, whether there's bad trade. And I am sure people would pay a monthly premium to have their funds insured. I would also like to see insurance companies like Progressive, Allstate, Geico.
But here's the thing.
I would also like to see them offer products to allow you to insure your funds.
Okay, but what's your example? If I go on an exchange and they're like, hey, insure your funds from being permanently lost. If you didn't pay for the insurance, you would just automatically assume that it's a shady ass company. Like they don't even have confidence in their own system. And it would be like going on a roller coaster and be like, here, you can pay $100, and then if you die on here, we'll pay your family. You get what I'm saying? Like that's an extreme example, but as a business model, you need to have
they're not going to change
you need to have a blanket approach. As a business model, if I'm BlockFi, all of our assets are insured by this company here. As an example, it shouldn't be can I pay for some insurance? No, it shouldn't be up to the customer to decide if they want to be protected from failure.
That, though. But
why not?
Why haven't they done it yet?
No, because this is a new market. This is a free market,
when
and as
Celsius
it grows,
went down.
Here's the thing. As the next bull market comes by, you're going to see the rise of DeFi. You're going to see the rise of lending again. And what maybe differentiates one lender or one platform from another is security, because people have gotten burned, and perhaps coming out of this, maybe the companies will be like, hey, come use us. We're a lender. We offer staking, and hey, we also offer insurance that is baked in, and that if there was ever an issue, your funds are guaranteed. And, I think that is a selling point moving forward. In the same way that, like, as
playing
people
semantics.
kept dying in car accidents in the 40s and 50s, then in the 60s and 70s, it became norm to add airbags in there. And you know, to charge somebody for an airbag ain't the way to go. You can't be like, well, do you want an airbag? No, just put them in there, bro. Like, straight up.
We're playing semantics. We're playing semantics. But
It's not semantics.
It is semantics.
If
I'm
airbags
saying
save lives,
just have it
put them in
included.
there. If
You're saying
insurance
have it
saves
included in
lives,
there.
put them in there.
Okay, you're saying have it included. I'm saying offer it.
Why would you offer insurance on a
As long as
financial
it's
product?
there, as it's literally semantics.
It's not semantics.
Yes, it is.
It should be a normal business practice
it's not.
to insure.
But
Okay,
it's
what if
not,
you went to
and
the
it
bank?
would've
What if
been
you went
already.
to Bank of America? You went to Bank of America and they're like, "Hey, man, we're going to charge you $50 to be FDIC insured. You want to take it?" Like, hell no. That would make no sense. You'd be like, "What do you mean?" Like, just insure my crap. I'm trusting you to hold my money.
Not.
They are. The bank insures your money,
I'm not saying the DeFi companies are not.
but they can. And what I'm
Okay.
saying is that
Well,
if you
then
have
why
two
wouldn't
DeFi,
Block? Okay, so when Celsius went down, you don't think these companies knew there was going to be a run on their banks?
but the next Celsius competitor that comes out, if they
what about the
offer,
competitor that's already in the space right now?
Well,
Hey
they-
guys, don't worry. We're going to insure all your funds.
Why
Or don't
not?
worry. We're
Why
going to
not?
give you the option to insure
Why
your
not?
funds. Well, I'm asking
why
you
would
why.
you? Why would you get the option? No, this is what's going to happen. You're going to have a rise of new DeFi and a rise of new lenders. And you're going to have an option. Option A is going to be unsecured, more risky, higher return. Option B is going to have insurance baked in and security and peace of mind that you will not lose your assets, but you're probably going to get less of a return. And that less of a return is the cost of insurance. And the one that has no insurance, their APY is going to be higher because they're not paying an outside company to insure their funds. Simple as that. And then the market is going to decide, do I want to go risky? Do I want to go safe? And I bet you the one that grows, the one that comes out of the ashes, is going to be the one that has insurance with less APY.
I agree. I agree with you. I'm just saying, why haven't they done that already then? Why didn't BlockFi come out as soon as Celsius went down?
This is an
people were
emerging market. People didn't realize it. In the same way that the housing market, people were like, well, why did you offer these risky loans? It's a learning experience. This is a new environment. You know, we came out of the ashes of the over leveraged VC and lenders. And you know what? You learn from it. In the same way that if you got no down payment, you ain't gonna buy a house. That ain't gonna happen.
What I want to know is where the hell did all the viewers go?
I don't know.
All right,
We got a couple new people here though. Metaspawn and there was somebody else in here earlier, and Gabriel. Hola, welcome to Sin City Crypto. So
Gabriel.
yeah, he was up there. He was
Gabriel.
up there talking about
Shiba Inu.
Shiba Inu. I don't know if he's still in here.
He is.
He was probably like, they ain't talking about Shiba. I'm out of here.
All right, and the last thing, just talk about this article. The new law does not include a ban on proof of work technologies, or it doesn't include NFTs. So we could see another bill attached to this, or a new bill proposed talking about NFTs. But yeah, Robin. Last thing I want to talk about here is El Salvador bought 80 Bitcoin at about $19,000. So you have a DGen sailor spend, I think he sold one of his kids or something to buy more Bitcoin. And then you have President Bukele taking a more normal approach, right? Michael Saylor's over here buying 8,000 Bitcoin at a time. This is just about 80, right?
They don't have a big GDP. It's not
$150 bucks,
Michael
$150,000
Saylor,
bucks.
I don't know about the facts here, but just off of my net value, I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Saylor could just walk into El Salvador and just buy the country, right?
El Salvador.
He's like, hey man, I like what y'all got going on here. I'm digging,
Hey,
I'm digging the vibes. You know what?
How much you want for the volcano right there?
How much is Congress here? But
Who's
anyway.
going to buy Bitcoin first, Warren Buffett or?
No, but here's the thing. Joking aside, with GDP and where you rank on an economic level, the difference between El Salvador and MicroStrategy is that MicroStrategy literally puts all of their investment and all their treasury assets into Bitcoin. Versus you have a country. Obviously, you have infrastructure that you need to account for. You got taxes, you got payroll, you have schools, and you have all of the things that you got to account for in a growing economy. And so you can't go all in on Bitcoin. In the same way that working class blue collar citizen, if he decides to buy Bitcoin, he's not going to put his whole paycheck into Bitcoin. And so he's just going to account for a little bit. And that's what El Salvador's doing. And so they're buying 80 Bitcoin at a time. My man, keep stacking sats, baby. Let's go.
Right. All right. I want to do one more article because I want to talk about an NFT and then we'll be done.
Okay, cool.
Rocco?
NFT?
NFT. NFT. All right, laptop. Hundreds of Bored Ape owners sign up to hire out their NFTs to brands. Hundreds of Bored Ape owners have signed up to a new NFT licensing marketplace that enables hodlers. Okay, real quick, Robin. Hodler or hodler?
I mean, it is
Pick
what
one,
it is, bro.
pick one.
It's our generation here, baby.
Pick one. Is
Hodler,
it
baby.
hodler? Rocco, hodler or hodler?
Hodler.
Hodler. Yeah, I hear people hodl. It's hodl, guys.
They say hodl.
They say
Hodl.
I say
Hodl.
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 How do you say it in
Yeah,
Italian?
Hodl
Rocco?
on.
Tieni stretto tutto, via.
It's time to hodl.
Bicchiere di vino, dai.
Anyways, so they're signing up to a new licensing marketplace that enables people to rent out their Bored Apes intellectual property to brands or IP. Mouse Belt Labs launched a marketplace called Bored Jobs, claiming that it will list all 10,000 Bored Ape NFTs on its website for brands to browse and indicate interest in hiring for campaigns. There's a quote from the announcement. The Bored Ape Yacht Club gave its owners a fantastic opportunity to utilize the IP rights of the NFTs they purchased. Unfortunately, they did not provide them with an instruction manual on how to put them to work. Bored Jobs is creating that instruction manual. A brand can hit hire on an ape, and we will bring the deal to the ape owner. If both parties agree, the deal moves forward. Rob, this is pretty dope. Now, not every NFT collection does this. Punk holders have been waiting for this to happen. That is why speculation, we talked about this, I believe this week or last week, that the new person coming in from Christie's, right, the new head of marketing or whatever, they were going to do the same thing for the Punk. So, Robin, if you were a Bored Ape holder, would you be happy? What are your thoughts?
I mean, yeah. I mean, this is good. Why not monetize your NFT if you have the means to do so? Now, my question is there a market for it? I feel like it would be easier said than trying to work out a deal with an NFT than just straight buy it. Especially if you have the amount of capital to rent out. Basically, that's what you're doing. You're renting out NFT to monetize, and you're basically waiving your rights to monetization.
Copyright.
You're letting somebody use your copyrighted information to basically monetize on it. There's no reason why a company would. There's no reason why a company would do this without making money for themselves, right? Because why would you pay to rent?
And of course, there's going to be a fee. Right.
So basically, you have a company where what they're doing is they're renting at a cost to generate money, and I would assume probably easier just to buy one. No, I'm not saying the market isn't here; it's not justified. Couldn't grow into something.
Yeah, but
it's very possible.
Ooh, okay.
I think
but
they
what
have
if you want to
options.
use multiple ones?
Yeah, good point.
You know, so yeah. Anyways, I'm pretty bullish on this. Now, I know there's controversy surrounding Bored Apes, but if you're a holder and you still believe in it, this is bullish news for you. Robin, I think we're done.
That's it, bro.
I think we're done. We, unlike every other channel, we will be live on Monday. We're not taking 4th of July off. We will be here bringing you amazing content on 4th of July. My show probably be a little shorter. But either way, we'll be here to talk about everything that happened over the weekend in the crypto market. So make sure you come back. Also, go to the description of this link or description of this video, of this live show. Click the merch website. Go check out some of the merch Rocco put together. Super, super cool. I'm going to come in with my new favorite shirt on Monday. So make sure you guys watch. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be juicy. Also, please go subscribe to Crypto Stackers Pro. Support for us. He comes on this channel, has not asked for a single thing from us. Out of the kindness of his heart, brings us his knowledge, his insight. Make sure we support the people that support us, guys. All right? We're a community. We're growing together. Got to give the love back. So go support this man. Follow him on Twitter, 0xstacker. YouTube link is in the description. Also, if you want to use this software, that link is in there as well. If you want to join the channel, support this channel, become a member, that link is there as well. And the link to the address of my house, if you want to come have a party with me this weekend, is in there as well. I'm kidding, that link's not in there. Rocco, roll the outro music. Friends and family, on behalf of myself, El Luchador, Rocco, Botticelli, and Robin, we thank you guys. We hope you have an amazing 4th of July weekend. Celebrate the independence of this great nation of the United States of America. And with that out of the way, we will see you guys Monday, 10:30 a.m. Vegas time. Until then, peace.
I got 16 missed calls on my phone. Times change, Mickey D turned into Rabuchon. Kick my feet up, drink leader, smoke on a new strong. Couple margaritas, senoritas, I goof off. I got 16 missed calls on my phone. Times change, Mickey D turned into Rabuchon. Kick my feet up, drink leader, smoke on a new strong. Couple margaritas, senoritas, I goof off. Smoking on an island, say she wanna ride with me. Took her on a flight, said all her bags from Italy. I sent her with a friend, they shopping there religiously. Whoa, whoa, yeah. You say she love me, but that's when she rockin' Prada bags. Said she ready for the next step, whoa, not so fast. Slow down, slow down, slow down, girl, don't you crash. Whoa, whoa, yeah. Cause we can mess up that pretty face, but we can fuck up that pretty lace. Tryna kiss up, I'm in your place. Man, this shit so crazy. Never thought I'd be doing shit like this again. Put that effort in, girl, then I repay you. Crash that thing out the park, now I feel like Babe Ruth, baby. This shit I can't do, baby. No, I can't move, baby. Nothing I can't prove, baby. I got 16 missed calls on my phone. Times change, Mickey D's turned into Rabuchon. Kick my feet up, drink leader, smoke on a new strong. Couple margaritas, senoritas, I goof off. I got 16 missed calls on my phone. Times change, Mickey D's turned into Rabuchon. Kick my feet up, drink leader, smoke on a new strong. Couple margaritas, senoritas, I goof off. Question marks along your brain, wonder if you should try again. Look at me inside your braces. Can't focus when we face to face. Plenty things I could go say. Name a place I go and pay at. Said she want no boo. Been around the world, plenty things I can show you. Taking flights to GA for our soul food. Gotta pay 1K for GA at my shows too. Keep it 1K with my fans even at my lows. Ooh. That's why I'm back. Show your man the things I've showed you. Tell your man how I used to hold you, but I won't hold you. Your new man is lame and all I spoke is true. Light one smoke for you. That sadness comes with coping too. This madness come with shit that's overdue. You strong with yourself, nobody else holding you, but I ain't holding you. You the one I need when I'm off that perk or two. Hit that thing early, got you sleep like curve for you. All these lame ass bitches I curve for you. All these packs and pearls I burn with you. It's up now, baby, it's stuck. They can look, but they cannot. They gon' hate, so I keep that tucked. All this ice on me like pucks. I work hard, don't need no luck. Only thing I need is my Glock. When there's bread, these birds gon' flock. When they dead, I let them rot. I ain't tryna leave you up, I said stop waiting. And I don't got time for these